Welcome back to the See It in Action demo series. Today, we are going to show you how to migrate your VMware virtual machines to the Zadara cloud environment with Cirrus Migrate Cloud. For this demo, I have a Windows 2016 SMB machine running on a VMware server as our migration source, with 8 GB of memory and 2 CPUs. Connecting to it, we can see that this is a 2016 Windows server running on VMware with an Intel CPU. Under disk management, we have these 4 disks to be migrated: a 20 GB boot drive and 3 data disks, E drive, F drive, G drive. In fact, 2 of these are actually externally connected disks from an iSCSI storage. We are going to migrate them all today.
Note that our migration source can be any environment and any block storage solution, whether physical or virtual, across any hypervisor, private cloud, or public cloud platform. Most importantly, we can migrate VMs with RDMs or environments where hypervisor snapshot is not desirable, since we don't rely on any hypervisor-specific capability. CMC does not actually care what environment your source host is running on. Even older versions of virtual machines from other VMware environments that do not support native migration can be seamlessly migrated using Cirrus Migrate Cloud.
Next up, for the destination, we will be migrating to our Zadara environment. It's worth noting that this same process works identically with Cirrus Data Cloud Private Edition for organizations requiring the Cirrus Data Cloud control plane to be private. In this brand new project that we prepared in Zadara, named Cirrus Data Test, there is nothing running. No virtual machines, no storage volumes. The only thing we have set up is the network. Let me show you here. We go to VPC, then subnets, and we are using this default subnet for this demo. As for security groups, we have created one called Wide Open for the purpose of this demo, but normally in any real-life scenario, this is the spot where we set up the firewall rules. We are now migrating our Windows machine to run on the Zadara environment. Let's get started by going to Cirrus Data Cloud. First, I am going to deploy Cirrus Migrate Cloud on my host. By copying the installation command and pasting it in the shell, CMC will install and register to Cirrus Data Cloud all by itself. This same installation command can be used on as many hosts as you want, so you are free to use any automation mechanism of your choice to deploy Cirrus Migrate Cloud at scale. The migration process of Linux hosts is more or less identical, and all you need is to install with a different installation command. Our Windows 2016 SMB host is now displayed on the registered host list, meaning that the installation is completed, and we can see the 1 GB data drives and the 20 GB boot drive. And we have both VMware disks and also external iSCSI disks. The CEFG drives here under our registered host details, which is the same as what I had here.
Before we continue with the next steps, let's briefly look at MigrateOps. That is a purpose-built data mobility as code automation platform that is designed to make data migration in enterprise scale easier, safer, and more predictable. This is an automation platform that optimizes global data mobility beyond just storage to storage data migration, thanks to the flexible automation capabilities that work with your operating system, applications, or even cloud infrastructures. It enables seamless chaining of functionalities with other automations that are often managed externally, such as OS automation, application automation, public and private cloud platform automation, virtualization platform automation, enterprise storage management automation, SAN management automation. Normally, we would come here to create migration sessions manually, but for this scenario, we will use MigrateOps. Let's take a closer look.
Now, I want to show you the purpose-built MigrateOps recipes for all the scenarios you need. I am going to use this new Compute Migration to Zadara zCompute recipe for this demo. From here, I am able to view a complete guide and configuration reference for detailed instructions to operate MigrateOps for migration to Zadara. While a migration configuration can be extremely simple, like the one we are going to use in the demo, there are also plenty of customizable options that is purpose-built for migrating to Zadara. First, we have a concept of access node, and that is completely optional. Access node is like a purpose-built proxy that allows you to migrate to an environment where even the Zadara management plane is within your private network. There are also many options that give us precise control over our destination VM configuration. Since we know everything about your source machine regardless of environment, almost everything here is optional, even the instance type. If not specified, an appropriate instance type will be automatically selected based on your source host specifications. There are also options for you to control how data are migrated. For example, if you have some complex scenarios like you want the migration network to be separated from the post-cutover production network, our host-to-host connection is our proprietary data transfer mechanism that has data reduction and encryption built in. With H2H, your data always stays within your four walls. It comes directly from the source and never leaves your data center, ensuring complete security throughout the process. Next, networking. That's right, network configuration is the one thing that is required. We need to specify which VPC and subnet to place our VM into. We can configure multiple network interfaces if needed. There are also options for private IP, or if you want us to automatically allocate elastic IP either for migration or for after cutover, or both. Once again, most of these configuration options are optional. Therefore, if not specified, default configuration will be used. There are also lots of other customizable settings, one including the ability to configure custom actions. You can automatically install packages, uninstall legacy software, start or stop services, and modernize your applications as part of the automated workflow. This ensures your applications are optimized for Zadara from day one. And now let me set up the integration for the next step of this demo. Under hypervisors or private cloud integrations, you can find the Zadara integration. I will proceed to add this integration with a name, which I'll call Zadara Test Integration, the zCompute API endpoint, username, and password, the account name, which is the domain for authentication, and the project name from Zadara Cloud Services, in our case, Cirrus Data-Test. Let's verify the connection with any of my hosts in the same network. You only need to do this once, no matter how many VMs you need to migrate. Now that I have CMC installed and the integration ready, let's move on to create a new migration operation. In this scenario, I am migrating this Windows 2016 SMB. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to keep the configuration minimal and use mostly automatic settings. Next, I will drag my configuration file right into MigrateOps. Like many other industry standard automation tools, our configuration is in YAML syntax. For this demo, I already have a YAML file prepared. And of course, while I am creating the configuration, I can always come back to the MigrateOps reference to apply all the fields we need. Let me show you how it's done. I am providing an operation name, the recipe that I am using, which I can find the recipe ID from here, the specified host name and integration name that we have set up earlier. Here we're not specifying the instance type, and we will just let the system automatically detect and select an appropriate instance type based on our source VM specifications of 8 GB memory and 2 CPUs. So we are just going to specify the subnet ID, and we will also just use the security group wide open that we created earlier. Since this is going to be a long-distance remote migration, we're going to need CMC to automatically allocate and associate an elastic IP so we can access from outside.
Cirrus Data offers a comprehensive range of MigrateOps recipes, supporting migrations from a variety of environments. No matter which platform or storage you are migrating to or migrating from, the process is more or less similar.
This is the completed configuration. Note that this is just for one host. You can add as many hosts as you want into your configuration. But for now, let's keep it simple and submit this configuration for this demo. The migration operation has started. Once I enter this newly created operation, I can view all the details. The operation has validated our configuration, and it has also validated the compute configuration. This is going quickly. Next, it has created the migration instance. It detected the specifications from our source VM and is applying the automatically selected instance type while maintaining other configurations. Moving on, our virtual machine has been created, and we can already find the MigrateOps instance running here on Zadara. Data goes directly from my source VM to this VM, so again, nothing comes to our cloud as the data never leaves your data center and always stays within your four walls. It is a direct, optimized, and encrypted channel. Moving forward, the Zadara instance is deployed and registered with Cirrus Data Cloud. From here you can see that we are migrating from our on-prem lab to AWS, as Zadara zCompute is AWS compatible, and it is going all the way from our lab in the United States to Israel. The H2H connection is created so that we have a secure data transfer. This is the direct connection from our host to our temporary host. The H2H connection capability also supports reverse migration scenarios, meaning you can easily migrate back from Zadara to your original environment, or any other target if needed. This bidirectional capability provides you with complete flexibility and acts as a safety net for your migration projects. The destination virtual disk storage is prepared. From here, we have already created the 4 drives, the 20 gig, 1 gig, 1 gig, 1 gig drives on the Zadara environment, and it is identical to what we had here. A migration session is created and data is synchronizing. Let's go and look at the migration session details. The CEFG drives are migrating from VMware to the Zadara environment.
Watch this perfect demonstration of our intelligent quality of service. When production I/O spikes in the top chart, the migration I/O in the bottom chart automatically yields to production workloads. The moment production activity subsides, migration intelligently ramps back up, ensuring minimal business impact while maximizing migration efficiency.
We can track the progress with the changed data map. The dirty blocks here show that this is a live migration, and it will eventually be completed. We can also find the thin data ratio alongside all other migration information we need. And the initial synchronization is completed. When I go back to the migration operation, this is now at a waiting stage. Upon reaching this stage, we will receive an email notification, and we can optionally set up an approval window if we decide to start cutover later. But let me just approve it right now for the demo. Once approved, the operation will proceed the rest of the steps. MigrateOps has then prepared compute cutover, where it configured the system to ensure that it had all essential drivers enabled and necessary configurations for our Zadara instance, based on best practices. Additionally, Cirrus Migrate Cloud automatically configures all drivers to KVM-specific drivers optimized for Zadara for optimal performance. The operation has proceeded further. Now, I have this migration report generated, where I can always come back to the reports and view all the detailed information about this migration. As until now, my Windows environment remains live, and the source VM is also still active until we complete the migration session. And these are the drives connected to the temporary migration VM in Zadara. Less than a minute later from our vSphere client, we can see that CMC has shut down the source system to get ready for final transition to the Zadara instance. Moving forward, it is powering off our temporary instance and making all the necessary adjustments. The process is automated. Looking at our storage volumes, all the temporary volumes are gone, including the previous root disk. And now, the 20 GB boot drive and the 3 1 GB data drives are mapping to our final machine. Once everything turns green, the cutover process is done, and the migration operation is completed. Looking at Zadara, we can see that our final instance is ready, and our MigrateOps temporary VM is cleaned up. It is running with the same name as our original VMware, which is now powered off. Let's take a deeper look at the details. It now has the specifications that were automatically detected and matched from our source VM running on Zadara, with the same 2 CPUs, 8 gig memory, and 20 gig boot drive with the 1 gig, 1 gig, 1 gig data disks. And notice here, our elastic IP has been automatically allocated and associated with the VM, just as we configured. While this demo focused on migrating a Windows machine, it's important to highlight that Cirrus Migrate Cloud provides identical functionality for Linux systems. Regardless of your source operating system, the migration process remains consistent and automated. Okay, now, it's time to confirm that the migration is successful. Let me launch the console. Our new machine has booted up properly. In the system information, we can see that this is now the same Windows 2016 server running on Zadara, with the specifications matching our source configuration. From the disk management, my 20 gig C drive and the 1 gig EFG data drives are all replicated, and they are now KVM virtual I/O devices running on Zadara, comparing to the VMware disks and iSCSI disks we had before migration. We have successfully got the Windows 2016 server running in the Zadara environment.
Let's have a quick summary of what we did. First, we installed CMC on our host. If you are going with any Linux hosts, the entire migration process is identical. You will just need to use a different installation command when we register. Then after that, we have set up the Zadara integration. For organizations requiring enhanced security, Cirrus Data Cloud also offers a private edition with self-hosted deployment and complete control over your data management environment. Remember, our migration source can be any environment and any block storage solution, whether physical or virtual, across any hypervisor, private cloud, or public cloud platform. Most importantly, we can handle VMs with RDMs or environments where hypervisor snapshot is not desirable, since we don't rely on any hypervisor-specific capability. The H2H connection also supports reverse migration scenarios, meaning you can easily migrate back from Zadara to your original environment if needed, providing complete flexibility. Once I created the YAML configuration and submitted it, Cirrus Data Cloud automated everything else. We basically created a YAML file, submitted it, and Cirrus Data Cloud migrated my Windows server from VMware to Zadara automatically. Without any manual interaction, everything is running optimized for Zadara with proper drivers and configurations. Oh, one more thing. Even though MigrateOps gets you one-click migration, entering the all-new AI era, Cirrus Data is right here as well with our MCP server for any AI agents to fully autonomously plan, design, and execute your data migration. Fully autonomously. With zero click. This is how you migrate to Zadara with Cirrus Migrate Cloud.